From Mamma Mia, welcome to The Spill, your daily pop culture fix. I'm Ksenia Lukic.
And I'm Laura Brodnick.
And today we are diving deep into the Logies. Last night, it was Australia's Night of Nights. We're going to go into the fashion, the red carpet, some of the misses, not on fashion, but on like maybe the stand-up stuff. But first, we're going to start with our red carpet. Now, Laura was there. I wasn't. I was comfy and cozy in my jammies.
That sounds so nice.
Because
I'm
it
not
was
going to lie.
very wet day.
Yes.
But yeah, can you tell us a little bit about the chaos of the red carpet, and then we'll talk about some of our looks.
It's so funny because when the broadcast was still going at like 11:45 last night, I don't want to like feel that bad for the celebrities in their gowns, but I did a little bit because they were all there. I mean, I'm sure they started getting ready at like 9 a.m. in the morning, but they were all there at like around 2 o'clock kind of lining up to go on the red carpet, which is when I got there. So if I sound daisy today, guys, it's because I got to the Logies red carpet at 2 p.m. and I left the Mamma Mia office at about 1:30 last night from doing the coverage. And now I'm here, and that's showbiz.
And you look gorgeous,
well, no,
darling.
don't zoom in the camera. But yes, the red carpet. So I was at the Star in Sydney, which I love because I feel like it's the only – I was saying to the team last night in one of the hours of delirium that the Logies is one of the Australian events where it feels as fancy in real life as it does on camera, because so many times you see premieres and they look so fancy on TV or people's socials, but you just know that behind the scenes it was a little more low key. But the Logies was, yes, super fancy, huge red carpet. Everyone was there and some like really good looks this year, I thought.
I was a little bit disappointed.
Ooh, okay, yeah.
I have a couple of faves.
Yes, tell me.
Okay.
But like what were you when you say disappointed, were you disappointed that like the looks weren't over the top enough? Like you don't have to name names, or I mean you can, but
I just think there was nothing that I was like, wow, wow, wow.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes that can happen with the Logies.
Do you know why? Some people, when they do take a big swing with a big gown at the Logies, they get made fun of, because I guess Australia sometimes we pull back on their. I remember like this is years and years ago, but I remember one year Beck Judd wore this huge gown and she got absolutely roasted. And there's a few people over the years, I think like a voluminous dress or anything super glittery, they get really roasted for being over the top. So now I think everyone's too scared to go all out, even though I would love that. I would love to see like a 10-meter train going down the carpet.
I mean, we saw a few pantsuits, like Kitty Flanagan. I feel like she looked great. That sort of satiny suit that she wore.
Well, her show won like 5 awards that night, so she was up and down the stage. So she probably had to be mobile. She had to be agile.
And she would have been comfy.
Yeah, which is so important.
I do have to say, Sonia Kruger, custom Alan Lee Cal, and I thought that was absolutely stunning. I always think she looks really amazing. Like, I know that she's over the top, but she, like, that's kind of what I wanted to see, this beautiful column dress. It was like gold, sparkly, this gorgeous cinched-in waist. And, you know, watching her on the broadcast, I just thought she looked really, really gorgeous.
Yeah, she did look lovely. Oh, also, guys, go to the Spill Podcast Instagram page and we'll put all the looks we're about to talk about. We'll put the photos there so you can follow along with us. Yeah, there was a few. I love Zan Rowe in the red with the beautiful kind of like the different cutouts and the draping and the red lip. I think she looked gorgeous. Who else did you like?
I liked, so Tanya Hennessy.
Yeah.
So just recently pregnant, after a very long journey for her with IVF, and she was wearing this beautiful sort of baby pink satiny dress, and Mary Ioannidis designed the dress, and she's just gotten pregnant. Yeah. And after this big, 7-year struggle with IVF, she looked so happy. She looked so beautiful, and she was just glowing. I loved it.
Yeah, she looked gorgeous. And it was so funny because she was going along doing some interviews and she looked all glowy in a beautiful pink party dress. And then she was like, guys, I'm only doing the red carpet and then I'm going home because I'm so tired. And I just thought, especially when the broadcast finished at midnight, I was like, that is the thing to do. Do the red carpet, see everyone, take the photos, and then get out of there.
I actually was messaging her on Instagram the other day and I was like, babe, I know that you've been going through this journey and it's a lot, but like, go take a nap. Like, you're allowed to sleep. And she's like, thank you so much. Yes, I need to sleep.
Oh, God, yeah.
So good on her. I'm glad she did that.
A few people who I thought had really, like, again, standout dresses. Po Ling Yao, who was up for the gold Logie, in the beautiful, like a cream corset, like so structured, and this beautiful full silk draping skirt. And, like, when she walked towards us so we can interview her on the red carpet, she looked like she could have been at the Oscars. She looked so regal. And her dad was walking behind her on the red carpet the whole way, watching her give interviews, watching everyone swarm around her with this big smile on his face, and it was so cute. I also loved Chloe Hayden from Heartbreak High, who was wearing, I think it was Romance is Born, with like the beautiful sparkly details and the shoe skirt.
That's kind of what I want to see. I want to see like a little bit more like fashion-y, rather than bridal-y.
Right. I don't. Yeah. Sometimes I think it does veer, and look, I would do this too. Sometimes I think Logie's fashion does veer into like high school formal look a little bit, with the kind of the gown or the column dress and like the slight waved hair. It's all very. But I guess you want to play it safe, because like some places still do the best and worst. What did you think of Zoe Foster Blake's dress? Because that was the dress that was like the contentious dress of the night.
Again, it was more a fashion-y dress.
Yes, which is why I think that a few people were just like, what is she wearing? And I was like, no, she's done a look.
But Zoe I think she's got impeccable style. It wasn't my favorite. I feel like the fit at the top wasn't kind of that great. But again, I prefer the more sort of fashion-y looks.
Oh,
that's just my
was a fashion-y
style.
look. It was like an emerging designer with the cutouts. It was just so, and like no one else had a dress like that.
Well, that's why I liked it.
Yeah.
Even though I wasn't crazy about the fit on the top, I was still like, yes, I do like that.
I think sometimes like that, it does take a minute. Like I had to sort of go back and look at it later and really look at it. And that's when I really appreciated the detail and the styling. Because I think the first photo I saw of her, it was her in the hotel room, they were getting ready, her standing in the dress. And for a second, I thought it was, you know, when you're making like a fancy dress like that, you do like in like a muslin, like a fabric, you cut
like
it
calico,
out first.
yeah.
And you do like the shape of it. For a second, I'm like, oh, that's the fitting for the dress she's going to do. And it's pieced together in that white fabric. And then they're going to make the dress. And I realized it was the dress. Which, as she came down the red carpet, I only saw her briefly, but she looked gorgeous.
Yeah. I do want to also preface this with saying that while I'm judging looks for people on the red carpet, I was wearing like a dirty tracksuit and no makeup and my hair in a bun. So like I don't really have that much business.
Literally, I was on the red carpet, and because I had a long dress on, I had like the rattiest flat pointy black shoes that like the edge of the heel is falling off, because you've got to stand there for like nearly 4 hours. And I was just like, I have to wear a broken in shoe. Yeah. So I would have died if someone saw it. But you know what? That's part of the job.
And the final one I do want to mention is Ricky Lee. I loved the colour.
Yes.
Sean Rentero, beautiful, beautiful colour. Like really like striking on the carpet. I really like that. I don't love it when people wear black on a carpet, because I do feel like it fades a little bit.
Especially because I had the black media walls this year, so that made it harder.
Yeah, so I love when people sort of wear something that's quite striking like that, and I loved the split.
Yeah, that looked gorgeous. It's so funny, when she came over for us to interview, we were saying like, oh, we love the fabric of your dress, and she's like, yeah, I feel it. It's so shiny, and it was very shiny, I can say, from up close. The other dress, I didn't get to chat to her at the event, but I was waiting in the little media holding area before we go onto the red carpet, and Lynne McGranger, who plays Irene on Home and Away, came out of like the room where all the Channel 7 stars were. And it was like, I can only describe it as like a queen walking into court, because she walked out and she was wearing this beautiful satin gown, this really rich, like deep gold. And she walked to the media room and everyone was just staring at her, and just like, that's like a gold Logie winning dress.
She knew she was going to win.
And she had pulled out the dress for the occasion. She looked so good.
Donnie Galella styled her. He's been styling her for many years. I think he did a great job. She did. She looks beautiful. Again, a really striking, lots of jewel tones.
Yes.
So that
the
really
bright earrings as well.
Yeah, really striking. Looks great on stage. Looks great on camera. I think that there's some things that don't translate as well onto photos.
It's so wild, isn't it? You would see this going to events. Sometimes you'll see a dress in person and you're like, that is the most beautiful dress I've ever seen. And then you'll look at like the Getty photos and the images that get released and it just looks so dull. There's no movement. It's so wild about how many beautiful dresses just tank once they're photographed.
Oh, I've had it many times.
Yeah.
When I'm like, I am killing it. I look great. And then I look at the photos. I was like, ooh.
And it just doesn't, sometimes they just don't photograph well.
It's not hitting.
Yeah.
It's not hitting. I also do want to talk about the boys quickly.
Oh, yes. Who's on your shit list? Tell me.
All of them.
Oh, really?
All of them.
No one brought it?
Again, I love it when men take risks with fashion. And I think we're seeing that a lot more. But David Campbell, what are you doing, David? I love David.
Wait, what did David have on? I
He had this satiny, greeny gold colour with the bow tie. I think it washed him out a bit.
Aww.
And I just didn't love it.
Poor David Campbell.
I know. And I feel bad because I do really love him, but I didn't love that suit. I feel like if you're going to take a risk with a suit as a man, you've got to really do it carefully. And a couple of them just didn't really nail it for me.
My God. Who else? Or is it just David Campbell we're singling out? I feel like you have to throw a few more names in there to
I know, but I feel bad because I like these people.
They can take it.
Dr. Chris Brown.
Oh, okay. Oh, he's fine. He's a handsome, rich TV star.
I know.
You can say what you want to say about that.
Also, gorgeous, tall, handsome, lovely guy. But it was kind of these panelled things on the suit and it just didn't really work for me.
Okay. I'm sure he'll take that feedback on board. That's important.
He will. I'm going to message him about it. I'm going to tell him.
Again, maybe it just didn't photograph well. I saw his head across the room.
Of course you did because it's like
tall
6'6".
people. Yeah, tall people's heads always see each other across, but I couldn't get a good look at his pants. I'll do that next time. I feel like that's a loss of journalism on my part.
I think in a tight squeeze, like give me a beautiful tux. Like Hamish Blake wore nice tux.
Yes.
Like lovely tux, nothing special about it, but he looks neat
dapper. Yes.
And tidy.
Love that. And that is our feedback on the red carpet. Okay, so getting on to the ceremony. So we start off with Sam Pang hosting. This is his 3rd year. And he had said going into the Logies that his advice to everyone in the audience, because he famously does skewer quite a lot of Aussie celebs during his opening monologue, his advice was just laugh along, otherwise you will become the story the next day because you can't take a joke. And I feel like everyone in the audience was listening because they were laughing along, but there were like some pained looks behind the smiles, I think.
When Sam was digging at Richard Marks, the new voice coach, and going like, I'm sure you answered that call, like quick smart, his face was like.
And I did think for a second that was like a play along bit. You know how sometimes they pan to someone in the audience and they've got an angry look because they're part of the joke, but I don't think that was. The other joke that was like at the very top of the monologue I thought hit so hard, and she kind of did laugh, but she looked like she didn't expect it, was when he said, I've been hosting the Logies for 3 years and I'm sure Kerry-Anne Kenley now knows that I'm not Ando, which the camera panned to her, but also big laugh, and I'm sure where's the lie?
Well, yeah, I think so. I did think, though, this wasn't his strongest year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was chatting to a girlfriend who was in the room and she was like, it just felt not as polished as normal. And I'm not sure if that was from maybe he didn't have enough rehearsals or there were a couple of changes in jokes or auto cue issues. Like there's lots of different reasons for that. But, he did make a couple of sort of good jokes. I liked the one. Bluey's the most watched show in the US just ahead of a school shooting safety video, which got a lot of
mixed review in the room, which is like it's like, again, I definitely see the humor in the joke, and it's like a joke at America's expense, which is so warranted. But I understand how you wouldn't want to be the person in the audience who does the big laugh and the camera cuts to you at that one.
Yeah, there was definitely a lot of oohs, but that's what you expect from a monologue.
Exactly. And that's why he has been so successful hosting Logie's last 3 years, because the first time he did it 3 years ago, it was really the first, like they had always done this before, but it's the first time a host came out and just did this very so kind of cutting but smart and funny monologue, calling out so many people in the room and not just teetering on those kind of done jokes but pushing the envelope a little bit, which I think he did again this year.
He definitely did. I just don't think it was his strongest year.
Interesting.
I feel like he did kind of make a insinuation that this was going to be his last year.
He did say, I won't be asked back again. But I don't know. That's what Ricky Gervais said every year until they kept asking him back. So, like, ratings are ratings.
Yeah, we'll see how that one goes. I did like the big running joke throughout the whole show was the Gold Logie nominations. Now, 7 people were nominated, 1 man.
Yes.
Hamish Blake.
And I don't think a person has been in such an awkward position at the Logies before. And the awkwardness started on the day they did like the big in-person announcement and they called out all the names of people nominated. And I think Hamish was towards the end. They did the group photo outside. And the first thing he said to waiting journalists, like 5 minutes after being announced, he was like, do not vote for me. I don't deserve to win. I've won twice. This isn't my year. Please don't do it. And he has continued that all the way through the Logies campaign.
And I think they were it was almost, it seemed quite calculated even from like the Logies production team, because every presenter was like, don't vote for him, don't vote for him, don't vote. Because the Gold Logie voting didn't end until like, I think 10 or 11 o'clock at night.
Literally 10:30, which, I mean, the ceremony was still freaking going at midnight, so that was plenty of time. It was so funny because as we were like watching the ceremony towards the end and it was getting close to Gold Logie time, I was getting a bit like Lynne McGranger was the favourite to win all the way through. And so I felt pretty safe that she was going to do that. But just because they made such a big deal of it and they kept hitting it so hard, and even like in his opening monologue, Sam Pang is like, I voted for Hamish Blake, not because I hate women, but because I just want to see him make the most awkward acceptance speech of all time. And then I started thinking like, we've got like 4 hours to go. Voting lines are still open. There's a lot of people out there that could just vote for Hamish now that they've made it such a big deal, just so to see him get on stage, to see what he'll do, to see the upset in the room. So I feel like that was a real possibility.
I was like, there's no way.
Yeah.
I just didn't see it happening. And I almost think he would have not accepted it.
I feel like he wouldn't have accepted it. No, that's what I mean. I feel like he would have got up and maybe like given the Logie to someone else. But I don't think it was out of the realm of possibility that his fan base is so big and people might do it as a little bit of a joke as well.
Yeah, look, he's a talented presenter. He's a great comedian and has obviously been extremely successful. I did like the Hamish as a diversity hire. That joke that gave me a little chuckle. But yeah, it definitely was. And like even Zoe was like, I love my husband.
Don't vote for him.
But please don't vote for him.
Yeah, they were doing an anti-campaign all night, and thank God it worked. That would have been a horrible way to end it. So then we had a whole bunch of, I felt it was like quite an emotional night with all the awards. Like, who were your faves?
I think for me, one that I really want to shout out is Jelena Dokic. Ex-tennis star and, wrote a book and then had her documentary Unbreakable. And I just was really moved by her and have followed her story. She is a Serbian woman. I'm got Serbian heritage too, so I definitely feel like a real connection to her. And I think, when her career ended, her tennis career ended, I think she felt so, I'm not putting words in her mouth here, but from what I understand, lacked so much confidence in herself. And these last few years, seeing her just blossom as a commentator and blossom as a writer and being in this documentary, seeing her regain that confidence that was so brutally taken from her as a young woman was really, really touching. And there wasn't a dry eye in the house.
No, and I thought the part of the speech where she was saying, like, this is for every woman or girl who's, like, not been able to tell their story or been told their story doesn't matter. And, yeah, people resonated with that so much, like the comments and the shares and people congratulating her. It was wild.
Yeah, I that one really, really touched me. And they didn't, everyone only got 30 seconds to do their acceptance speeches. They gave her a little extra time.
Yeah.
Because it was clear that it was really, really special. I also noticed a lot of female winners this year in general. I know they're sort of split up, but it did feel like a woman's night.
Yeah, I guess because they were like, the documentary, and then Ali Langdon won the Ray Martin Award, and there was a lot of different women who were like also behind the scenes, like the team behind Apple Cider Vinegar, which won a few awards, and Fisk, which was the other big winner of the night on ABC.
Huge.
It's one of those shows that like I feel like we don't talk about enough, but so many people watch. But yeah, it's on ABC. Kitty Flanagan got up. They won a whole bunch of awards, and they take out a lot every year, like over Colin from Accounts and all these other like sometimes more shows that get more buzz.
I thought Colin from Accounts might win because of the buzz around Patrick Bramall, and I thought that maybe that would send it. But, it's great to see Fisk winning so many things, particularly on a network like ABC, which is funded by the government. It's a smaller network, and to see something do so well and resonate is really nice.
Yeah. Well, I guess ABC makes up so much. Like they never release stats, but from everyone I know who works around it, ABC makes up a huge part of the voting population, which is sometimes why you see shows that don't feel as popular just pop up at the award show, because I guess they're the people that are voting.
Yeah. And I do think, though, something that was a really big running thing is there was a lot of digs at free-to-air.
That was so funny, because also where's the lie? So like a few times, like Kitty Flanagan was saying a few different things with a few other different comedians on stage about the different streamers, saying like SBS, love the sound to sync, 10 play, more like 1 play if you're lucky, like, and also I feel like that's just a very real thing with a lot of those streamers.
And I don't know, does that mean that we're going to be seeing an end to that way of watching?
No, I don't think so, because those networks have to keep their own content on their own platforms. I wonder if there'll just be some little updates. It's so funny because Reese Nicholson, the comedian and podcast host and author who was at the event last night, they went on the project in the last week that the project was airing and did this little piece to Cam where they were like, fix 10 play, it never works, it's so buggy, and they did this whole big rant to camera, and that went viral because so many people were sharing it. And then the next day, Reese posted this thing to their Instagram account, this screenshot, and it was an update to the app that they'd received. So they were updating the app in the background, and everyone was like, is that from the project rant? And I think maybe it was.
Probably.
Yeah. So I don't know if all these other, because it was all the streamers binge. They were like, binge, would love to, can't. Yeah. And I was like, again, binge. I know, or every network got a little shout out for their platforms not working. So I love when we get into tech chat at the Logies.
Also, another very heartwarming moment was Magda Szymanski's Hall of Fame win, which was incredibly well deserved. They did this beautiful, beautiful video for her, and, all of the people that reached out, Danny Minogue, Rebel Wilson, George Miller, Matt Lucas, Richard E. Grant, Melissa McCarthy.
Yeah, Melissa McCarthy popped up, and I'm like, hey girl, where'd you come from? But I guess like Magda is an international name. Like people know her everywhere.
Kath and Kim is huge overseas.
Yeah, they tried to do an American version, didn't work. They stick with the Australian one.
And then, seeing the video from Magda accepting the award was, again, not a dry eye in the house. She's obviously been diagnosed with cancer, going through chemotherapy. One of the things she's like, I earned this. And I love that. I love it when someone doesn't have that kind of, I don't deserve this, that imposter syndrome, She said, I deserve this. I earned it.
Yes.
And, she's like, thank you for all the support. And I feel that so much stronger to deal with the cancer because of this support.
Yeah, it was really beautiful to watch because she's like, oh, I didn't think I was going to cry, but she did start tearing up when she was talking about the support of people around her. But again, she's so funny. She started off by saying like, guys, this is not because I've got the cancer, okay? She's like, I've earned this. I've worked really hard. I've bribed. I've chased people down. Like, this is why I have it. And you could just see people in the audience, like, just like so many people were sobbing and crying because they had the camera panning around while they showed her video. People were cheering. Like her kind of like effect on Australian culture and activism and everything is just like completely unparalleled. So I'm glad she got that moment.
The Heath Ledger moment.
Yeah, because that was I remember that happening. That was crazy at the time.
That is still to this day one of my favorite ever clips.
Yeah.
Of all time. Like when she screams.
When she sees him on a red carpet.
And everyone is like shook. and then they make out, and it's just the best clip ever.
Yeah.
It is just iconic. And, you know, when she ripped, right at the end of her speech, she ripped off her beanie.
Yeah.
Revealed her bald head, and it was moving and so well deserved. And Magda, I just have so much love for her.
Such an incredible moment. So well deserved. I don't know how to transition from that to some of the more off-kilter moments of the night, but I guess that's what the Logies is. Like, 1 minute everyone's crying and celebrating this icon, and you've got people in the audience like Hamish Blake is saying, like, I used to go to school and like say Magda Szymanski like comedy lines to people, and that's how I got into comedy. So he went from that beautiful moment to some other moments on stage that were a bit more off kilter. So Tom Gleeson, notorious kind of menace at the Logies.
Always.
Remember his big campaign to win the gold Logie?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. And how I think like a lot of people in the industry, well, I mean, I know because I've said it, but even to this day, I think they still hold on to that. Just think that he made like a bit of a mockery of the event.
But that's his shtick.
Yeah. No, I thought it was funny, but I can understand like there were some people who were like, I legitimately wanted to win. Like I think Amanda Keller said it. She's like, I really wanted to win, and I don't think I might not be in the race again. Like, you never know what's going to happen, and you just kind of made a joke of it and people went with it.
Yeah, and I think that can be the problem with the Logies is that there is a large portion of the Australian industry that kind of takes it as a bit of a joke. It is funny. It's kind of, yes, it's our night of nights, but it does have this undercurrent of being a little bit silly.
Yes.
And a bit like not great.
Yeah, everyone's like, this is not prestige. But the thing is, like, not everyone watches the actors, which is meant to be like the Australian Actor Awards, which is meant to be the prestige. That's meant to be our kind of Academy Awards. But it doesn't get as much airtime as the Logies. But there were so many moments, like Tom Gleeson got on stage with Poet at one moment, and he was asking her if she was going to win, and she was kind of laughing. And he's like, well, you're not going to win. Let me tell you that, because you're not Channel 7. And Channel 7's only inviting, because obviously Channel 7 ran the Logies. And he was like, because Channel 7 only invited everyone here to watch them win awards. And then he said, it's kind of like inviting someone over to your house to watch you wank. And Poe was just like, did you see that bit?
Yeah.
Because you just looked shocked all new. And I'm like,
no,
is that
I was shocked because I'm now remembering it, and it's just like the poor girl.
Yeah, I think because obviously they all rehearse and they have their bits written by a writer for when they come out up on the screen. I don't think that was like a pre-planned bit, because Poe kind of like looked away and she was laughing. She didn't know what to say. And I think everyone in the audience, like some people were clapping because they were just like, yeah, is Channel 7 just going to win everything?
Well,
and then
Lynne
some
McGranger.
people, yeah. And then some people were like, how dare you question the sanctity of the Logies? So,
well, I mean, this is the thing. Like there is always going to be that criticism, and I think Tom Gleeson just leans into it. I mean, Hard Quiz has won a number of times.
Yeah.
It's just kind of the way it is.
Yeah, and he's
bit.
already won a gold Logie. He's like, what else could I do? Like, I can't make a mockery of it again. But then we got into the bigger awards of the night, and I feel like that's when things really got back on track in like an emotional sense.
Yes. So I think the biggest sort of win of the night was obviously Lynne McGranger.
Yeah.
Irene from Home and Away.
33 years she's been on Home and Away. Like, I don't remember a time in my life where she hasn't been on that show. I mean, it's crazy. Like we grew up with her.
It's her and Ray Ma.
Yeah.
Like, that is Home and Away.
Every time she got on stage and they panned to Ray Ma and he just got his hands in the air clapping for her. Oh, my God. Alf and Irene love them.
But what's crazy is it's the first time she won
That's
Logie.
wild, right? Because I was saying she's also the longest serving actress on an Australian drama in history. And this is the first time she's been nominated. It's wild. So I'm glad she won 2 in one night to go out in a high.
So she won obviously the Silver Logie for Best Actress. And then the gold.
Yes, which is, I think there's a sigh of relief in the room because, again, she was the favourite to win. It was kind of this agreed thing that she was going to win. But because it's a public vote and it was open so late, it could have gone either way. And for anyone who's on Across Home and Away, if you're not still watching that show that's been on for 38 years, she is retiring. So she's leaving after 33 years. She's had this huge emotional storyline, which she referenced on stage. Her character, Irene, is leaving because of an Alzheimer's diagnosis, but they're also doing this big celebration of her life. So she gets up on stage. she does the silver Logie. And it's one of those things you can kind of see that she's hedging her bets a little bit because she gave this really emotional speech where she thanked the cast and crew and everyone who watched, and she made note of the storyline on Home and Away at the moment. But it's also, there was this kind of feeling in the room that she was about to come back on stage for the gold Logie, so you don't want to kind of go too hard in that moment.
Yeah, so after she won, we did have a little bit of a break with 2 songs.
Oh my God, no offense to that man, but that was outrageous.
Again, that's Richard again.
Yes, no, I know. I feel like he's great, I'm sure. The point of that was it was nearly midnight.
I know.
The thing was supposed to finish at 11 o'clock. I was sitting at my desk in the freaking Mamma Mia office, like 3 cans of Coke around me. I'm kneeling on the floor. I'm so tired. Not that it's about me. I also felt for people in the room because they've been getting ready since 9 o'clock.
And I could see people starting to slump. And again, my girlfriend who works for 7 was in the back of the room and she was texting me. She's like, I'm so tired. Everyone's like slumping, exhausted.
Everyone would have been, because when we were on the red carpet, they were rushing people in at 5:30 that is, because they've got to have dinner and then clear all the plates away before they can start the broadcast. So they've been sitting in those chairs since 5:30. And I know, literal champagne problems. But if you're sitting there from 5:30 and it's a midnight and a man comes out on stage to play 2 songs, because at that stage you either need to go home or you need to go to the after party and like wake yourself up.
Yeah.
And when he came out, I was just like, just no.
Yeah,
just get him off the stage.
It didn't really land. So for the Logies, basically what they do is, and this is for a lot of award shows, is when you're in the room, you have to stay in your seat until the ad breaks.
Yes.
So during ad breaks, people literally bolt out of the room. And often in the hallway, because if you miss the ad break, they lock you out.
Outside,
which a lot of people do on purpose. So
because you want to be out in the bar where you can move around and talk to people.
the amount of times where people were like running to the bathroom and then just like hanging around waiting for the next section to be over so they could have like a little breather.
Yeah, exactly. And I also feel here's my feedback for the Logies. Love you. I have some nice things to say to you when we finish the app. But my main note would be that big musical guest at the end, because the reason that musical slot is at the end is that used to be the big international star. Remember that?
Yeah.
When like Avril Lavigne would come at like her peak. I mean, she's still peak, but you know, she would come and perform at the end. So it was this big thing. Everyone was waiting. Ricky Martin would come out at the end again during his big peak and everyone would just be up on their feet screaming. So having the musical performance at the end was like a super highlight of the night. No offense to that man, but it just wasn't the same thing.
He's also just like, I understand that he's successful. I am not familiar with a lot of his music. I think that he definitely has a little bit of an ego, and I think that he was expecting a bigger.
Yeah, not at that time. Maybe at the beginning of the night.
But like Jimmy Barnes opened.
Yeah, and that was lit. Like literally the stage was on fire. It was so great.
I would have rather seen Jimmy Barnes
come back again. Just do Working Class Man again. We would have loved it.
Or give me like a melody with, you know, Jimmy Barnes and like even Guy Sebastian and like Ricky. Like give me like a fun something. Because I don't know if you saw because I'm just going to switch very quickly. Hamilton did their big 10-year thing, and they did that
at the Tonys.
Yes, at the Tonys they did this medley, and I watched it like 4 times. Like, give me something like that to like make me feel something.
They needed something. I know, just that's my note for next year is like either cut that musical act, especially if you say the show's going to finish at 11 and we're getting into midnight, and they're like still to come. Best drama, Gold Logie, silver nominee. No. Anyway, then we got to Gold Logie once that man was off the stage with his piano. And it was really beautiful. And they called Lynne McGranger's name out. She had her daughter Clancy next to her. They hugged. Everyone was like hugging around her. But it was because she had that huge voluminous gown. And she got up to the stage the first time quite well. But maybe because everyone was standing for the Gold Logie, did you see she couldn't get around in her dress?
Yeah.
And she couldn't pick it up.
It's quite tight, the room.
Yeah, yeah. And I guess maybe because people were coming in on her more, because the first time she was fine. The second time, couldn't get the dress up the stairs. Sonia Kruger ran out and lifted up one side. Kate Miller-Heidke was on the other side. She ran over and they both lifted her dress so she could get to stage. And then when she got there, she was just like typical kind of Lynne McGranger. She was like, wear a nice dress, they said. It'll look good, they said. Like, bloody hell. And then went into her speech.
I know. And she was, and obviously very grateful, very, very well deserved, you know, because we had Ali Langdon, we had Lisa Miller, Pauline Yao and Sonia Kruger also nominated, and then Hamish.
I loved how in her speech she goes, all the beautiful women I'm nominated with love you. Oh, and you, Hamish, God love you, you brave man. He was just like, get me out of here.
I know.
I'm so embarrassed.
I just kept thinking like he just wanted it to be over.
I think the relief on his face, I watched you could see in the reaction, if you look to the side, his face when it was announced, the look of relief on his face, I cannot explain it. It was the same look I had when the Logies finally ended. Like, thank God that happened.
Look, Laura is tired.
I know, I am tired, but I did love everything about Lynne McGranger's speech. I loved her talking about her career. What are you going to say? Which bit?
I loved the bit where she's like, I'm going to take the top off this thing, and when I'm cremated, you're going to put the ashes in there. We're going to screw it back on. It's going to sit on my daughter's mantelpiece. I was like,
yeah.
That's how much that meant to her.
It meant so much. Well, first of all, she said she was going to carry around her handbag for a year, which I love. Then she said she's going to put her ashes in it, and give it to her daughter. Camera pans to her daughter, and her daughter Clancy's like, okay, I guess I'll deal with that later. I also love that at the table next to her daughter Clancy was Ada Nicodemo, who plays Leah on Home and Away. And they're obviously really close on the show, but they're also best friends in real life. She was sobbing. And not the sweet, like a few tears on her perfectly made up face. Like her makeup was running, her face was red. And I'm like, that's how a best friend cries. Yeah. They do an ugly cry for you.
It's a pride thing. And it's like the Logies has been criticised over the years for being so, particularly with the Gold Logies, for being so male dominated and only focusing on male presenters and performers, because unfortunately that's just misogyny for you and the patriarchy. Yeah. So it was really nice to see that kind of flip. I do think it was concerted and very, very conscious.
Well, it needed to. Well, it's like when Magda won her award, and they're like, she's only, I think, the 5th woman to be inducted into the Logie Hall of Fame in well over 60 years. Like, that's wild. And not that many women have also won the Gold Logie. Like, it's a pretty male-dominated space. And if women win, it's usually like the same woman wins in a couple of years in a row, so it's not spread out. But yeah, she just looks so happy holding her Logie and like talking about what everything had meant to her. And then she thanked her daughter. And then she said, my husband's not here. I asked him if he wanted to come. He said he'd rather swallow a hammer. And I was like, oh, that's kind of true love, because like they just must be so close that he can say that to her. And she's like, that's fine. I'll have a better time with my friends.
Well, I mean, as a husband, as the handbag, you're just going to be basically following. Like, she's going to be busy. She's going to be working the room. She's got, Logies to win. And I get it. I'm sure he was watching. Or maybe he just went to bed and watched the highlights.
Maybe once
morning.
The guy came on to sing his 2 songs, he was like, even I'm out. But yeah, it was such a beautiful way to end the night, especially when Sam Pang came out and she's like, it's so funny how like you just won the Gold Logie, you've been in the industry for 30 years, you're one of the most recognizable faces in Australian TV. And then she still was like, what do I do at the end? And she's like, do I leave? And she's got a little notepad under her arm and a Logie, all her stuff. And Sam Pang's like, no, stay here with me and we'll close the show together. Like, you're the star. And she was like, okay.
And then Sam Pang couldn't have closed that faster if he tried.
I know, he could see that after party in the distance.
He was like, okay, bye. Thanks, everyone. I know everyone's really tired. See you later. Bye.
So overall thought, if you have to give the Logies an overall report card to finish up, what's your final grade?
Not my favourite Logies of all time. Loved Magda, Yelena, and Lynne. Those really moving, powerful moments, those were really, really special for me. I wanted more jokes. I wanted a little bit more from Sam Pang.
Interesting. Okay. I think maybe this is delirium talking because I've had like 2 hours sleep, but I weirdly thought it was one of the better Logies that I've seen in the last couple of years, just because I feel like with this Logies, we've lent back into what the Logies is meant to be. Like, it is a little bit cringy, it's a little bit emotional, but it's meant to be like a little bit heartwarming as like our shows that we've grown up with. And it was so funny because I was telling my sisters that I couldn't come see them this weekend. I have to go next weekend to Queensland because I had to go to the Logies. And my sister Kate was like, because we're nearly the same age and we used to watch Logies together. every year growing up. Like we'd stay up late, we'd stay up till midnight and watch Logies. It was our night, our special night. And she was like, I can't believe after we watched the Logies all those years growing up that you get to go. That's so amazing. And I was like, I don't know how to tell you this like over the weekend, but like the Logies is not a thing anymore. Like it's not this big thing. It's not that special. And then when I was actually there and watching it, and I got so emotional over Magda, I got so emotional over Lynne, even like Kitty Flanagan, all the different winners, everything. And I was just like, it actually is just, I was feeling really gooey at the end. I was like, I'm really proud of everyone.
I am too. Like there was so many moments that I really, really enjoyed and loved. And I do think that we need to continue having the Logies because it's important to celebrate Australian television because we've got incredible talent here. And it's not just about the performers. It's not just about the actors. It's about the incredible directors and writers. And I mean, look at Bluey, look at Fisk, look at Colin from Accounts. Like there are so many amazingly talented people in this industry that deserve to be recognised. Yeah. And I think we need to continue it. I just wanted more jokes from Sam.
Yeah, and I just like it to finish at 10 p.m. So maybe we'll just next year we work on those two things. But let's keep the Logies. Let's just keep it tighter, keep the jokes shorter, and we can bring it back.